believe I get to actually do this. Oh. I think I'm going to actually sit down on this one. In today's video, we're going to go over some creepy TikTok conspiracies. Let's get into it. I know the audio sounds bad right now. Give it a few minutes, I'll fix it here in this video. Bear with me.
Have you ever heard of a biocomputer?
Like an all-natural computer?
That is a computer that runs off of lab-grown human brain.
What?
A company called Final Spark. I think they successfully have grown 17 brains or something.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they're not full brains. Excuse me. They take the cells from the human brain and then they grow it to where they can run this AI computer off of it. They said the energy that the human brain uses to power these computers is 1,000,000 times less than our electricity.
So you're keeping a brain alive?
What's creepy is that they grow these human brains,
As you do.
and they literally have it in a device to where they give it water and food to keep it alive.
Food? With
Yeah.
what mouth? That's the most horrifying thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I just imagine it's just a tank full of water and they're just fish fooding it every day. They just...
Honestly, it would not surprise me if we get to a point in our life where they start using like prisoners that are on death sentence. They'll start using their brains because it'll be a cheaper resource than growing brains. It would not at all surprise me if we actually end up doing that.
A bee scientifically cannot fly with its body weight and the size of its wings. It shouldn't be able to. It literally said in the beginning of the bee movie, but bees don't care what humans think. That's why they can still fly, right? They don't really just use their wings to flap air to fly. What they're doing is they're using vibration to make themselves fly. They're using frequency to make themselves fly. You know when they put sand on a table and they play a certain frequency of sound, what happens to sand? It creates like hexagon. It creates like certain patterns. What is a honeycomb?
Oh, it's the same thing?
It's hexagons. How do they make that shape? It's because of the vibration they're moving at. Why is honey literally the only food naturally that doesn't go bad? Fungus can't grow on it. It's so pure, has all of these nutrients. It's very good for humans, but it doesn't go bad and it stays so pure. What makes it that way? It's been blessed by the frequency of the bees and it's put into that sacred geometry, the hexagon, because the honeycomb is literally a hexagon.
Now, I've heard about the bees not flying, they're actually floating off frequency, but I have never heard about the hexagonal shapes of the honeycomb being formed that way because of the frequencies. It's an interesting theory. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but it is interesting. Let me know in the comments if you find that to be true, if that's a theory that you've already thought of, or if that's a new one to you. Because like I said, I've never heard of that, and I've never thought of that.
Allegedly, the Secret Service agent who took out the person who was attempting to assassinate Donald Trump has now lost his job. A lot of people have heavily scrutinized the fact that he basically had the shooter completely lined up in his line of sight, but didn't take the shot. This information may or may not be true, but if it is, the person in this photo is known as Jonathan Willis. Jonathan Willis is a Secret Service agent who was given direct orders to not take the shot when he had him in his line of sight for over 3 minutes. That's right, he had him in his line of sight for over 3 minutes, but the head of Secret Service told him not to take the shot. If this is actually true, it would actually make a lot of sense because you can clearly see in several different videos that the Secret Service agent was basically just looking down his line of sight for a while in the same direction. Keep in mind that the agent ended up disregarding the orders and took the shot out against the person who was trying to assassinate the previous president. It could be several days before we get any more information on this, but make sure you're following and I'll update you with everything because I'm sure we are all asking the same question. Should this Secret Service agent be held responsible or no?
Man, I was gone for a week and a lot of crazy things have been going down. That Trump rally was really insane. And for anyone that got injured or lost their life out there and the families that have to deal with that, I'm so sorry that that happened and I hope the best for you. Now, let me know in the comments your thoughts about this exactly because I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. And also, I hope putting the microphone in front of my face makes the audio sound a little bit better. It's so echoey in this room at the moment because I'm still sound treating it. So hopefully this sounds a little bit better. I'm not a huge fan of having the microphone in my face. I like having open space, but as of right now, this is going to have to be the setup. So I'm sorry and I hope this works for you. Hey, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. I only ask once per video and I make a video like this almost every other day. It's been a while, I know I've been gone for about a week, or actually I think it has been a week. I've just been trying to get my office set up. There's been a lot of work. I've done a lot to this place and I'm still working on it. So hopefully I'll have like an office tour within the month or 2 months, whenever I can get everything in this room completely set up. And I also want to say thank you to everyone that's been concerned about me, leaving me comments on whether or not I'm okay. Trust me, I'm okay. In fact, never better. I've just been extremely busy getting this office space set up, and it's been kicking my butt, but I'm pretty certain I have everything properly set up as far as power, internet, things like that, pretty much situated. I'm still working on getting the internet a little bit better. I'm running off of Wi-Fi right now, and it hurts. So I need to get my Ethernet routed into this office building so I can actually have really good internet, because upload times are gonna be miserable. And let me tell you, you do not know how much this YouTube experience means to me, and it would not be possible at all if it was not for you guys. So thank you so much for that. I enjoy this. This is a really fun hobby / career. I'm really getting into it. And with this new office space, I have now more capabilities to do even more with this channel. Maybe in the future I can start live streaming. I can start doing collaborations with other YouTubers, maybe even create a podcast, because I've thought about that, and that's a big one that I'm kind of wanting to get into, is making a podcast where we can talk about these theories and ideas and conspiracies. It sounds like a really fun idea to me, so we'll see where all that goes in the future. But right now, I'm in the office space and I'm getting it set up slowly but surely. Hopefully there's no more delays or hiccups with the uploads, and I'll have an everyday upload like I normally do. And with that, I just want to say thank you one more time, because you don't know how much it really means to me. It puts me in such a better place mentally, spiritually. It's hard to explain on how amazing this experience is. And I just simply cannot thank you enough.
Are there pig people living in the Florida Everglades? They're described as short, human-like beings with pig-like snouts. The squallies are creatures rumored to live on the eastern edge of the Everglades in Naples, Florida. Deep in the Everglades is the Golden Gate Estates. It was developed in the 1960s, but a lot of the area is still untouched for miles. A portion of this land, called Alligator Alley, was acquired by the state of Florida with the goal of preserving it. This part of the state is untamed and holds different kinds of animals like bears, bobcats, deer, hogs, panthers, and according to the local legend, pig people. They are said to capture and devour anyone that comes too close to them. Reports of the squallies have been around since the 1960s. They look like the Wargler monster from the movie The Private Eyes from the 1980s, but the squallies are smaller. And it's because of their small size that the squallies are often called children. At one point there might have been a population of 30 to 50 adult squallies. Some think there might still be a small number in the area and other parts of Florida. Where the squallies came from is up for debate. Was it a government experiment gone wrong, resulting in their mutation into pig-like creatures? Allegedly there is an abandoned lab in the area, and that's where they were created. Some say it was from inbreeding from those living in the Everglades.
I don't know. I've been to Florida quite a bit, and I've never heard of pig people before. Maybe I'm missing out on this story, but this is a first for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I know some pigs in Florida, but they aren't actually pig people. I cannot be the only one that's never heard of this. Have any of you heard of this before?
And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look what happened.
I have to say, there's a lot of sketchy things going on in the crowd. There's a lot of sketchy things in general with this rally.
Just from a family who was out hiking in the Appalachian Mountains when they recorded what sounds like unidentified animals screaming out in the forest. Now, it truly sounds spooky. I have no idea what it could be. But with all the folklore, all the paranormal lore coming out of the Appalachian Mountains, your best bet is not to be hiking in those woods at night and to leave immediately. Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Lower than.
I think it's poison.
Wait, no, first. Hold on. I'm going first.
Why not? Go first. I'm about to take a picture. You gotta get lower than that. Look at him move.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh, it's about to catch something. Y'all ready to go back?
Yes, I am.
At first, I thought it was just someone that got caught in one of those webs and they were screaming. But the more I listen, the more it sounds like coyotes to me.
Did he create one of the first androids? Cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. The famous words of French philosopher and scientist and mathematician René Descartes. Descartes is often referred to as the father of modern philosophy. Not only did he argue about the nature of reality, the mind, and body, but he was also famous for...
Sum it up, like the comment in this video says, some people can't handle grief. Just don't get me wrong, if one of my family members like that passed away, I would feel horrible and I would want to keep a piece of them with me, but I don't know if I would want to create a whole animated robot for that. Especially one that I keep in a casket-like box. That just sounds really creepy.
All right, y'all. I need the internet's help. So this video comes from a woman whose son was remodeling his home and found very old newspaper clippings shoved in between his walls. Well, there's a half a story in there that piqued everybody's interest. She shows what the article says, and it's basically a giant's toe bone was found in Idaho. Again, the article's cut in half, so we can't read the entire thing. So if anybody is near this area, Idaho has great-grandparents, grandparents who store old newspaper clippings, try and find this article. And it would be interesting to read it in its entirety. So take a look at this and tell me what you think.
So my son's redoing his house from 1928. Miners find great toe bone of giant in, I think that's Lewiston or Silverton, Idaho, June 20th. Fossil bones at the White Bird south of something. Pretty cool.
I will have to say, that is actually pretty cool. I wonder if that was a hoax paper or if this was an actual newspaper. There's got to be some way to look back in like an archive of newspapers somewhere online, just to go back in time and see if we can't find that newspaper and see what it actually had to say. In today's time, they would probably classify this bone as like a dinosaur bone. But back then, they didn't really know any better, so that they were actually probably speaking the truth and they weren't even supposed to be. If anyone's familiar with this story or this newspaper article, please leave a comment down below letting me know and sharing the story behind it, because this is kind of an interesting one. And it would be a really cool find to find something like this in your house.
Pilot Mountain, North Carolina. What's that look like to y'all? How about that one right there? So there's a theory with all these. So a lot of people say that a lot of these mountains look just like tree stumps. If you look right here, you can actually see the rings on some of these. You know, it's just quite interesting, but, you know, of course, it's just a mountain. Another good little comparison here, man. Look, these two tree stumps right here above me, or three of them, and look over here. A lot of similarities, and this right here, these three right here, that, anyways.
So to me, this definitely looks like cut wood, especially right in this area. All of this, that looks like cut wood. Look
he's
at
got
the
a
color
point.
difference. I've cut a lot of wood in my life. That looks exactly like cut wood.
Man.
Look at these slabs. Look at these slabs. I don't know.
There's a lot we don't know about in this world, man. If you don't agree, it's
hard
okay.
to deny this. That's cut wood.
I mean, you cannot deny that that really does look like petrified wood, cut wood. Those mountaintops do truly look like tree stumps. Now, I have seen some people in my comments before saying that if there were really giant trees and they were cut down, where's the equipment that was used to cut the trees down? Why do we not see more of them than what we currently see? And where is the further evidence of the tree? If there's still a stump, where's the rest of the tree? And I agree with all of these because that's very true. If there's a tree stump, where is the rest of the tree? There should at least be evidence of a whole tree there. And there is some videos out there where they show what looks like maybe old branches and giant leaves, but I just feel like if we have a massive stump sticking out of the ground, there would also be a massive petrified log somewhere.
Your own avatar. No, not that kind, but maybe soon. In genetics, avatars are personalized models. often using mice or cell cultures that mimic a patient's genetic traits. Researchers use these avatars to study how diseases behave and to test treatments specifically made to that patient's genetic makeup. For the first time, researchers from Harvard and the Broad Institute have created 3D brain organoids, or brains in a dish, by combining cells from multiple donors. Chimeroids can help study how genetic differences affect brain diseases and responses to toxins. This breakthrough could eventually lead to personalized testing of new treatments. It's going to be a bit before you can project your consciousness into an avatar to explore Pandora. Quote, what if one day we could use chimeroids as avatars to predict individual responses to new therapeutics before testing these in a trial? I like to imagine that future, unquote. Professor Paola Arlada, senior author of the study from Harvard University. The technique involved growing separate organoids, breaking them down, and mixing the cells. After 3 months, the chimeroids measured 3 to 5 millimeters across and contain all the cell types found in early fetal cortical tissue. In humans, the cerebral cortex is the brain's outer layer of tissue and plays a vital role in attention and consciousness. So, are they conscious?
I don't know if they would be conscious yet, but there's really no way to tell. I do have a feeling, though, that these are going to be utilized for a lot of medical reasons, and I could see it being very beneficial if we're growing an artificial organism that doesn't necessarily have a life, but it has tissue that lives like a person's tissue does. Let me know in the comments what you think about these little organisms. Do you think that this is something that we could utilize for medicine, for different tests? Or do you think that this is something that we should probably not even mess with in the first place? I'm kind of on that line, but if we are going to mess with it, at least let's mess with it for something that's good.
Y'all, something weird is going on. There's still over 1 million people right now in Texas without power. And the whole entire time leading up to the path of a hurricane, they were telling Texas not to worry. And then I came across this.
I have received so many messages like this one from linemen that have traveled far, from Michigan, from Florida, Arkansas, Oklahoma, places from all over the United States to be down here to help with what happened with Hurricane Beryl. So when I tell y'all, the linemen are out here and they're waiting for orders, but Centerpoint is dropping the ball, hear it from them yourself.
They are not letting the linemen restore power because they are working out their wages beforehand. They're more worried about how much they're going to get paid for restoring the electricity that they won't even let them restore electricity.
Houston, I'm a lineman from LA and we are just sitting. Your power company wants to negotiate pay first. We can't move unless someone agrees on pay.
Is that not insane to y'all? And at the same exact time, we have this major heat dome over the ocean. So if this gives you any idea of what the future is going to be like for this hurricane season, and if you thought the path of Beryl was very familiar, even the tornado warnings is very familiar to the eclipse. If y'all had not already noticed, the eclipse left as if some kind of anomaly or pressure system going through the United States that storms and earthquakes are following. And literally 1 week prior, I showed you guys a video of the Livingston Dam in Texas about to overflow. Y'all, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. Oh, and really quick, just for the ignorant that say it's just electricity, we don't need that. You know there's a portion of the country that needs electricity to live? Ventilators, pulse oxes, etc. Now you do.
Man, for anyone that suffered through that hurricane, I hope the best for you because I hate hurricanes. I've been through a few of them myself that did not end very well. Luckily, everyone survived, but a lot of things got destroyed in the process. And I know not having power for a week, 2 weeks actually, in blazing heat, mugginess, it is not fun. It is not a good time and it is very hard. And for anyone that has to suffer through that, I am so sorry and I hope the best for you. With that being said, I have been keeping an eye on this hurricane because it was moving very oddly and there wasn't very many people talking about it either. It was honestly something that was not being talked about through most of the week until after it passed over Texas. I don't know if there was some kind of conspiracy going on behind it, where they were trying to balance out the electricity or what have you, but there should have been definitely work done to get people's power back up. If any of you are from Texas and you're watching this video, let me know in the comments how it's going. Has it been fixed by this point? Because now we are talking about quite a few days after the fact.
I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a lot of people who think Pokemon is one of the many tools of Satan. Have you heard this before?
I've heard you told. I remember I think I've heard it from you.
It's not just me, but I want to sort of trace a timeline here. You were playing Pokemon, and then you decided to go fight in Ukraine.
I was playing Pokemon for 2 months. Is that enough time, do you think? I don't know.
So somewhere while you were playing Pokemon, and just tell me the truth, is that when sort of you started thinking it might be a good idea to go fight in a war?
I had more kind of aimless thoughts, let's just say, when I'd be fighting and everything on the game. I was letting my mind wander. And part of that, again, I was involved in combat on the game.
All right. See, this is what many folks are saying, is that somehow built into Pokemon, it's this hypnotic, satanic game that is seductive in nature, that the Pokemon themselves represent various entities, demons.
I have heard people say that Pokemon could potentially be a satanic game, but I've never heard anyone say that it causes you to want to cause war or go to war. That was a new one to me, but it does make me think maybe I wanted to go to the army because I was playing a lot of Pokemon. But there's other games people also classify as being satanic games or shows, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, Harry Potter. That was a big one. Let me know what you guys think of this. I don't necessarily believe it, but who knows? Maybe it is something brainwashing people to want to actually fight in wars.
I went to Egypt. As we approached the Great Pyramid, time began to slow down for us. It's called time dilation. Why? Because those 2 million blocks of stone have so much mass that it creates a time dilation bubble around us. A person that's standing directly next to the Great Pyramid is experiencing time microns slower than the person that is 100 miles away. Time is bendable. Time is malleable. Time travel into the future is 1000% possible. Once you have the knowledge of time and how it works, you'll be free. Time does not exist. Clocks exist.
I kind of find it a little funny when you say time does not exist, but time is malleable and bendable. You know, I just, that kind of doesn't work together. But with that being said, if time really is dilated when you are that close to the pyramids because of the mass, would it not do the same when you are around mountains? Like, take Mount Everest, for example. That's a really big mountain. Would time slow down if you were near that mountain? And what if you had a person that was by the Great Pyramid also? How would time work for the both of them, you know? That's a question I would like answered.
If you don't know what has just happened over in the US, you're gonna want to watch this video. Seriously, this has got to be some kind of joke. So yesterday, as I'm sure you're all very aware, was the NATO summit, so world leaders from all across the world in NATO countries went over to Washington to have this big meeting, essentially. Now, it's an annual meeting that takes place, and it's basically just to go over everything that's happening in the world and make sure everybody's kept safe, along with touching on all of the subjects such as Ukraine and Israel and sort of working out plans of what they're going to do for these situations. Now, everybody was there, including obviously President Biden and our new Prime Minister in the UK, Keir Starmer. He flew out there and the meeting took place. But in the meeting, some pretty interesting stuff took place once President Biden took the mic in front of everybody. We know old Joe isn't necessarily the most aware person at times and can muck up his words. Obviously, he's under a lot of pressure. First of all, he said this and made this error when talking about his vice president, Camilla.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified.
And if that wasn't bad enough, he then went to introduce Ukraine and said this.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin.
Let's see what's going on. Hit that follow button. Keep you updated.
I feel so bad for President Biden because I do not want to make fun of him, but man, that poor old guy, he really just needs to resign his position and hand it over, because at this point, he is just going to say something that's going to upset someone on accident.
Wat is dat voor iets?
Is dat een vuurbal?
Wat fuck is dat?
Oh my god. console.
I mean, the captions of the video says super rare ball lightning appeared in the sky after a huge lightning strike. Maybe that is what that is. Maybe that's a bird caught on fire and it's falling from the sky. But to me, that kind of looks like just a regular flare of some sort. Like you can see the smoke trail. It's kind of flashing a little bit. To me, that looks like a flare just falling out of the sky. Now, why there is an emergency flare falling out of the sky after a lightning storm? No clue. But I'm pretty certain that that's got to be what that is, right?
Vampires are trending right now. And the reason being is because several different people, witnesses are coming forward and claiming that there are secret bars, certain bars in New Orleans that are strictly vampire hangouts. Or if you want to get bitten, that's where you go. And they're coming onto social media and talking about it and spilling the tea. Well, take a look at this video. This is from a witness's home security camera. It's her Ring doorbell, and it captures something truly unexplainable. She has confirmed that this hasn't been edited, it hasn't been doctored, she's not touched it, she's not played with it, but she has no explanation for what her Ring doorbell caught on camera. As you see the man passing by the white car, look at his shadow. His shadow does not match up to the man. It literally looks like an entity crouched down, following him, and then disappears. Now, some are saying it's some sort of shapeshifter. Others have no idea what it is. But what if it is something supernatural? What if it was maybe a shapeshifter or even a vampire following this man? We don't know. But what's causing this? That's truly the question, because it's not his shadow. Take a look at the security footage and tell me what you think.
I don't know. I haven't really seen a huge trend of vampires appearing up on social media talking about these secret clubs. And that shadow did look a little different than the person that was walking. I can't say that it didn't, because it was all weird and contorted. And I'm surprised no one brought up how that person that was walking to the left looked like they had no head. That was more strange to me than the shadow, but nobody was talking about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that that could have been maybe a shapeshifter in disguise, and that's one of the ways that you can see them is through their shadows? Or do you think that it was just an odd position of the light hitting him, bending his shadow, making it look all contorted? I personally believe that's the case, but who knows? Maybe there's more out there than what we know.
Can't be the only one that does this. As someone is talking, I can say to myself in my head what you're saying as you're saying it without knowing what you're going to say next. Like I'm saying it with you in my head. Does anybody else do this? This is also the only way I can learn. If I'm learning something, I have to say it to myself in my head as you're saying it, or as I'm hearing it, or else it will not stick. If I don't do that, I'm going to forget. Does anybody else do this, or is this just me? I've never heard anybody else talk about this.
Actually, I've never heard of anybody talk about this either, and it's really crazy because once she said that she knows what they're going to say as they're saying it without them even saying it, I understand that 100%. Now, as a teenager, it happened a lot clearer. Like I could hear what they were going to say in my head before they'd say it as they were saying it. Way clearer as a teenager. Now, I still do it, and it bothers me so much because I know what they're going to say. I can hear what they're going to say, and it makes me spontaneously interject what they're talking about to finish basically their sentence or to give them the answer that they were looking for in the first place. Like I know what they're about to say before they say it, and it just always makes me pre-answer whatever question that they have for me. And it bothers me because it makes me feel rude. But I understand this 100%. Does anyone else out there experience that? That little voice that you hear in your head? I'm glad that there's other people out there talking about it, because I would have never have thought about bringing that up, even though it's something I experience. It's just kind of second nature to me at this point. So let me know in the comments, is this something that you can relate to? Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I'm really sorry, it was a really short video. The quality probably was not good with the audio. I'm still trying to get everything situated in my office, so I'm still working on it. So the videos might be a little short for now, but they are going to get longer. I also got to catch up on getting fresh content, because even though I was gone for a week, I was still collecting TikTok videos just as I was scrolling through TikTok. But now I have so much content that's old in a way, like it's a week old or a week plus, and I just feel like I can't really use this because it's too old. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have even fresher content. It'll be more relevant. It won't be stuff that was done a week ago. And I appreciate again for everyone that was concerned about me, leaving me comments asking if I was all right. Trust me, I'm doing okay. Never better. And as always, if you are interested in any of these clips, links in the description down below. And with that being said, have a good day.